Sugar Confessions. How's everyone tonight? If you don't know by now, this is the radio show, the YouTube show, the podcast, wherever you're getting your listening and your viewing pleasure of Brown Sugar Confessions, as we talk about sex and relationships and really anything we want to talk about because it's our show. And tonight we are going to finish up our conversation from last week because you guys asked for it. It was all around consent. And I didn't know it was going to take like 2 episodes for consent, but it is. It's taking 2. So we're going to go there and go revisit what consent is. How do you ask for consent? What consent isn't? And also, if you have a young person in your life, how to start having this conversation around consent, regardless of their gender. Everyone should understand what consent is and what it isn't, and how to talk about your babies. Why not your babies, your young adults around consent. So if you don't know by now, go on YouTube and check us out at Brown Sugar Confessions. Go to TikTok at Valerie/Nefertiti. Check me out. And we're going to hit this show because it's going to be fun. There's normally 4 of us, but tonight there's 3 because one of our beautiful co-hosts, KD, is flying about doing what KD does, is having the best life. So we will see her next week. So that's all I want to say. Miss T,
Oi.
How are you? What's it? How is it in ATL?
Oh man, ATL so far has been okay. Like no storms, no flash floods, no tornadoes. We did have a couple of car wrecks on the highway, but that's every day. But other than that, it's been pretty good. Weather is great. Huh? The weather is great. I haven't really been doing much. I got a whole slew of gigs coming up next week, so I am very lightly preparing my body.
Welcome, Egypt is in the house on TikTok. Hey, what's up in there, Egypt? I see you loud and clear. Hey. So, what else is going on besides that? You're dancing. What else is happening? Anything else? Don't talk about the weather. Don't.
I mean, I already did talk about the weather. You missed it.
Oh, I thank God. I don't
I can't do my Weather Channel voice, my little, partly cloudy with 80 degrees under fair skies.
Absolutely not. No one cares about the ATL weather. Treese, how are things in New York?
They're cold.
Cold?
Yeah, it's cold. It's like 61 here right now.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so it's cold, but it is what it is, summer clothes going away.
I know.
Fall clothes coming out, but that means hot girl boots. And
sweaters.
Yeah, and turtlenecks and stuff.
I am excited for onesie weather.
Yeah. But other than that, we're dealing and working, and I got my hair did.
It's pretty. Got the fall colors in. That's pretty.
Yeah. And that's about it. I mean, nothing else is really going on up here. We're just living life.
All right. Well, you guys look amazing. If you don't know, I'm on TikTok under Doc Val or Val Nefertiti. Sorry. And if you're on YouTube, welcome to the studio. As I said tonight, we're going to talk about consent and finish up this conversation around what consent is, what consent isn't. And if you don't know, we are going to give away a trip, but you have to go to YouTube. So make sure you do that. It's at Brown Sugar Confessions, where you can enter in for a trip. Just like and subscribe. I can tell every day when someone subscribes to it. So you're going to be entered for this giveaway that we have. And
we're about to hit a milestone on YouTube. I don't know if you have seen it already. That's Brown Sugar Confessions, ends with an S, at gmail.com. And if you want to talk to Doc Val directly, if there's something that you want to talk to her with personally, especially around consent and relationships, your children, your job, what have you, you can always reach out to her at Valerie. Was it Valerie at Swan with 2 N's, center.com.
.com. There you go. .com. All right. So, Treese, what's going on? What's happening?
So before we get into it this week, let's recognize that we are talking about consent. How the word consent is an ever evolving thing. And you may be triggered by some things that we say because in your past, you may have not consented to something. So please recognize that and take care of yourself. If you need aftercare, please reach out. We'll probably have some links you can go to, some things you can do. Drink some water. Grab your favorite stuffed animal, grab your real animal, grab a crystal, take some deep breaths. This is going to be, I don't want to say heavy, but it's going to be truthful. It's going to be very truthful. And if we're talking about right now, we're talking about consent, we can't not talk about what's going on in the news.
Let's do it.
What's happening in the news? Okay.
So there are two things I want to bring up when we're talking about consent. And the first one I want to bring up is consent between a doctor and a patient.
Okay.
So right now, and I'm sure Doc Val, with Doc Val being who Doc Val is, knows about consent between a doctor and their patient. But right now in the state of Texas, what are you doing, man?
It's always
Texas.
Always Texas.
Y'all want to act crazy.
It's always one of the two.
Y'all leave and I leave and y'all want to act crazy. All right, so let's get into it. There's this doctor. He calls himself Dr. Kenny Smiles. He is on TikTok. He's on Instagram. I believe he was on Facebook.
Oh, he's famous.
Oh, he really is. He really, really is. So his real name is Kenneth Wilstead, and he has made a name for himself helping women who have had a lot of dental issues and can't afford to fix them. And what I'm going to say is he is helping a demographic that will be grateful and could be suppressed because they weren't able to get the help that they needed somewhere else, right? So apparently he calls himself the politically incorrect dentist. Hint, you should not be saying that as like your tagline if you're a professional, bro. Like what's going on? Okay, so what has happened is this dentist he's running a contest because he wants to cast people for this show. This is a dentist. He has no production team. He wants to cast people for a show and showing, like how he's going to fix their smile and how it will help their life. So he is requiring that they send pictures of their mouth, pictures of their body to him.
Oh.
But one of the little emails, he says there's a little skull emoji by it, and he says you can send pictures with or without clothes. This is a dentist talking to somebody that he is possibly going to sedate and be in their mouth. This is also the same dentist that has in the past gotten in trouble with the dental association for writing too many prescriptions, taking another dentist's prescription pad and writing prescriptions for himself.
How is he still working?
This is Texas. This is Texas.
Y'all in Texas. Come on now.
He is trying to say that he is helping to give smiles, but really what he is doing is degrading people because in one of his TikTok videos, he is talking to an Asian woman, and in the tagline of the video, it says mail order bride.
Whoa.
Yeah. And while he's talking to her, after she's been like drugged and sedated in a very racist voice, he imitates a Chinese voice, recorded and put on TikTok. That's what he recorded and put on TikTok. Then he had a Black woman in his office and he said, "Oh, wow, you're the first Black woman we've had in here in a while." And she nervously giggles because she is like, ah.
Wow.
But again, this is patient doctor consent. Like there is a line between professionalism and outright just ridiculous. This man has danced on patients. He's made jokes about how ugly patients were. He's made jokes about patients with their mouth open.
Whoa.
Yeah, he's even recorded I believe it is his daughter, who happens to work at the dental clinic, talking about saying the N-word, and they laugh about it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So patient-doctor consent. As someone who has a license and works in the medical field, you have the right at all times to reject them working with you. You also have the right as a patient to go to the board and write down your experience and say there should be an action taken. You can do these things. I know it is scary as a patient, especially a patient with no money, and you're trying to get your mouth fixed by a doctor who says he helps women with low incomes get the smile. So you are already put in a very precarious situation. You want your smile fixed. Maybe you're having mouth pain and you want your mouth fixed. And this dentist can do it for you, but at the same time, he is going to degrade you.
Wow.
Please, please, please do not run. Do not subject yourself to this kind of treatment. If we're also going to talk about,
is he being reviewed by the board or something?
I do believe right now that there have been some things that are being brought up, and as the day progresses, I mean, this has been going on for like the last week or so, and as it progresses, more and more things are coming out. He told one patient that was looking to be on his television show that she was too FAT to be on the show. He wants good-looking women. So he's looking for a specific type. You know what he's doing. And let's not pretend like dentists have not abused their power before. So please be aware. Again, consent is a real thing, even when you're dealing with somebody that we're brought up to believe that doctors are above us, right? Like they know more.
Informed consent.
Yes. Please
but they're also supposed to be professional too.
Yes. So please do not negate your own consent, your own internal gut feelings. If something feels wrong, you don't have to explain it to yourself. Get up and leave.
Right. Well,
get up and leave.
Therese, I will say, this is all around consent, and informed consent is when you're talking about medical consent, giving someone the rights to do certain things to your bodies for medical reasons. And so it's important to understand what your rights are, because you have them as patients. Rights are, for lack of a better word, I think rights is okay.
Yeah, they're patient rights.
Yeah. And relationships as well. And in relationships, I don't think I would call them rights, but just your human rights, maybe, as to what you can and cannot do with your body. And it's okay because it's your body. So let's get into what this is about. Let's get into consent. But Therese, thanks for that. So I'm going to read this. You know what? Because I told you last week, like WASC, W-A-S-C, the World Association of Sexologists, it's their annual, I guess, consent month. They're talking about consent. I'm just going to read to you what they say what consent is. And like, you can get your kids in on this, your high schoolers, your junior high. But I'm reading it directly from the website. Consent is permission. No one can touch another person's body without permission. All partners must give consent for any sexual activity. Sexual activity, and also non-physical scenarios as well. Okay, because I forgot I'm on TikTok, and I got to be careful with the words here. So, consent is around your body and around also non-sensual scenes as well. So let's talk about those scenes. Like kissing. You need to get consent for kissing. And I know that might sound like, how do you get consent for kissing? Right? But we're going to talk about that. But I'm going to read them off to you. Hugging. Sharing food. I spoke of that last week with my granddaughter. Sharing food. Touching any body parts. Exposing your genitals. Taking or sharing sexual photos or videos are all around consent, and you must get consent for something. And I know you might be saying, well, it's BS. You're talking about food. Yeah, even food, especially like your young children. those that are in junior high, high school, helping them say no is a good thing. Helping them be comfortable with saying no to someone. I don't want to share. I don't want to. I don't feel like it. It is absolutely okay at that age to start having them say no to what they want to consent to around their own bodies, which is eating food, right? Mm-hmm. I talked about that last week with my granddaughter. Go to the first episode. I'm not going to do it again, but you get it, right? So now we're going to talk about, there's a really cute acronym that they came out with, and it's FRIES. And it's really simple, but for you that are listening out there, I want you to remember this. It's called FRIES, they came out with. So FRIES, the F is for freely and willingly. It is not consent if there is pressure, manipulation, or influences of drug and alcohol. That is not consent. All right, you hear me, right? If there is pressure, if there's manipulation, coercion, if you are under drugs or alcohol or any kind of substance, it is not consent. All right? Reversible are in the FRIES. You can change your mind at any point in time in the act to remove consent. If you are kissing and then want to stop, you have the right. If you are doing anything with your body and his body, or regardless of your gender, you have the right to revoke, to remove, to rescind, whatever word you want to use, that consent. All right? Informed, and this is a big one, informed consent. You can only consent to something if you have the full story. For example, this is big for young people out there listening. If he says, you tell them, I only want to play if you're wearing a condom, and he doesn't use a condom, that is not consent.
Or he steals you.
Yeah, that is not consent. All right? So understand that. It's very important to know that you have the right to know the full story. If someone has an STD and doesn't tell you, that is not consent, because you need to be informed by all the parameters of what you're about to do so that you can protect yourself. If you knew someone had an active case of whatever is going in their private area, would you engage in a physical relationship? Probably not. So if they're not telling you, that is not consent. Enthusiastic. It's about doing things that you want to do. Absolutely, yes, I really want to go for it. You're verbally giving the words that, yes, I want to engage in this, not only with your body, but also your word. That's important. And S, specific. You must be specific about asking for consent. For example, saying yes to kissing someone doesn't mean that you've consented to going all the way. It means that you've given consent for kissing. So at each stage when you're in a physical act, you need to give consent, or you should, for what you want to happen. And I've heard people say, well, that's whack, that's boring, no one does that. You kill the mood. What do you guys think about that? I think there's a way that you can have that conversation. What do y'all think?
I actively have the conversation, and it's easy. It's easy.
How do you do it?
You start by asking the question, but it's not like you're ordering a cheeseburger. Like, yeah, let me get no, no. There is a very no pickles. Like, there is a way to do it. Look, you're with the person and you know it's about to get that little time, and you're just like, can I kiss you? And they'll be like, yeah.
Sexy.
And then you go from there. But for me, it is a turn on to get consent. And it's the way that I ask, can I kiss you? Can I touch you? Can I touch you here? Can I do this? And they say yes or they say no. And if they say no, I say, tell me what else I can't do. Because there's a lot of things I want to do. And then they'll be like, ooh, you nasty. I'm like, I am.
But what you're doing is just asking for consent.
You're asking for it, but it doesn't, if you think it's like it's turning me off, it's because you're not asking in the right way. You're thinking of it as a chore instead of it as a treat.
Yeah. And it can be done as a treat. And you gave some really cute examples of like what you do. And so if you're listening, it can be, I'm going to write these things down for you. I'm going to put them in the chat. It's not chats, but on YouTube. So you guys can know, because sometimes if you're young and you're experimenting and you're trying to figure it all out, you might need a little scripting. So I'm going to script you a little bit to help you find the words, use them, change them, so that you can start understanding how to ask for consent. Here's another one. It turns me on when you do. You're telling them what you want. You're giving consent. You turn me on when you do that.
It turns me off when you play like a DJ in a scratch booth. See?
Yes,
consent.
that is. Why? Why am I having a flashback? Shut up.
And another one.
Oh my God. Go to YouTube and watch the animation because these. Yes. Oh my God. Okay. Here's another one. It turns me on when we do blank. What do you think about that?
I love
Engaging, you're asking, right? You said this one. Can we try this? Or can I do that? Or do you want me to do this? See, there's
like it's a thing. Like,
and it's so sexy
empowering
to be asked.
Yes.
It is so sexy
like that,
to be.
Though.
Yeah, like that.
Put some bass in your voice.
Don't be like, can I do this?
Yes.
Yeah. Don't be giving me the crazy eyes.
Yes.
Don't be weird.
Don't be weird with it.
Don't be weird.
Be sensual with it. Are you ready for this? All of our eyes were like this.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, what? Are we doing it?
Okay. This is not a drill. Let's go. Hold on. Let me take these off real quick.
Are you ready for this? You're like, yes.
Like, yeah.
Or you could say no. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But
like, no.
Do you see? But do you see how sexy consent can be? Right? It doesn't have to be boring and all stale. Like, and y'all's eyes was like, I'm ready for it. I don't know what it is, but I'm ready.
I know, but
take me to the dungeon.
You are a fool. You're a fool. Here's another one. How far do you want to go tonight?
Oh.
Right.
Oh. Hold on real quick. Let me get this off.
Do you see that we're grown women and we're like, oh. But do you see how asking
the right words in the right way?
Right. It's like I'm using that, right? I'm using it. Y'all are like, yes, yes.
Use
it.
It's gonna be a part of the school because
you like that, don't you?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I know you like that. All I'm doing is asking the question. And if you're on YouTube right now, you should see the reaction. Because Miss T is literally laying back. Like, I think her legs may be open.
Just
I don't even know.
Take me here. Just take me here. Just take me
here. I
here.
don't even know what's going
I've lived a good life. Take me now.
But I swear to goodness, her legs are open right now. But this is around consent, right?
This is all about consent.
All right. Here's another one. Will you do this to me? Will you do this to me like that? That's how I like it right there.
And this is why she's the professional. Just why she's a professional.
This is y'all like,
right?
Cigarette.
Just gonna have me finish my drink before we got like a minute left, y'all.
But you get now how sexy consent can be? It's not boring. it can add such a beautiful layer to whatever modality of intimate play that you want to have, whether it's dungeon, whether it's tantra, whether it's whatever. You can ask, and there's something beautiful about yes for the giver. For the giver, when and they hear you're saying yes, it's like, oh, there's something so sexy about that.
That makes you weak.
It makes you weak.
It makes you be like,
Yes, and the way you can say, respond, yes, I like when you do. Oh yes, right here, right there, and then when you're helping guide them where you like it on your body, because that's the second thing, and that's another story. We'll get into it. Is that I hear people say, well, they don't touch me the right way, or they don't know what I like. And then I just get frustrated and I'm just I'm just like out of my head and I don't care. Just finish up. But if they're asking for consent, right? And then you guide them in that way. And there's also a technique that's called hand gliding. And hand gliding is where you can take your hand, and I'm putting my camera, and you take your hand and interchange them, and you guide their hand to where you want it to go. Mm-hmm. And then stop or pull away. And you're intertwining hands. And that's a somatic technique. I just teach it around the radio. It's interlocking fingers, and you're guiding their hand to where you want it to be.
I like that idea. You know what we got also interlock with?
What?
These bills.
No. We got to interlock these bills and pay them.
That was a good one. I like that one.
That was a good one.
We got to interlock with these bills, y'all. So go run, get to the potty, take a break, and we will be back after these messages.
Welcome back to Brown Sugar Confessions. We are here with Doc Val and Miss T and me, Tracy. And tonight we're talking about consent. But first, before we get into it, hey, did you know that you can listen to us on a podcast form? Yeah. Go to Spotify, look for Brown Sugar Confessions. Yeah, that's us. Like, share, and subscribe. 2, if you haven't already and you're on YouTube with us, please like, share, and subscribe. Even give us a comment. Like, let us know, what do you want to hear us talk about? We love hearing from the people that we're building our community with so that we can better educate the masses. 2.
Absolutely.
If you're on TikTok,
the washed ones and the unwashed ones.
If you're on the Clock app and you're not clocking us on YouTube, what's up? Mm-hmm. What's up? What are you doing? It's two little buttons. And you're right here with us and you can subscribe. You know you want to. Quit playing. Plus, we look cute. Stop it. Support beauty. Get rid of ugliness. Like, share, and subscribe. Now, if you want to confess on your own and just talk about something that you'd like us to discuss, because we want you to realize the thing that you are going through is not singular to you. It isn't. There are many people that go through the things that we all go through, but through shame and guilt, we isolate ourselves. The best way to not isolate yourself and heal is to open up and share. And if you'd like to share, please write us at brownsugarconfessions@gmail.com. I am not spelling that. It's brownsugarconfessions@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm. That's easy.
It's a little long, but y'all figure it out.
You'll get it. 2, if you're listening to us talk about consent and you want a more in-depth education so that you can better navigate not only your intimate life, but your regular human, mundane life. And I say mundane, but I just mean human, every day going to the grocery store.
You say right? Mundane. Oh my God.
Mundane.
Mundane. Okay.
It's a whole
that's not so bad.
strategy that is based on the mundane.
You're right. Okay. All right.
So if you're looking for help in your regular, I'll be better. If you're looking for help in your regular schmegular life, want to know what consent is, please reach out to Dr. Valerie. And you can reach her at valerie@swancenter.com. And I'm going to spell it. If I hear anything about my Texas accent, I'm coming out like Foghorn Leghorn and Shoot 'em up Sam, pistols in the air. Okay? It is VALERIE@SWANCenter.com. That is Valerie@swancenter.com. Now let's get into this talk about consent.
Here we go. So before we left on break, we were talking about, how to engage in consent, how to ask. And if you didn't see the girls earlier, they all were feeling me scripting them on some verbiage that you could throw out.
I still want this script, though.
I will send you.
I'm trying to get my verbiage up.
I will send you the script on how to ask for consent. And obviously it worked because these two are like, oh, I like it. So ask. And the way that you do it, it can be so sensual. But the idea is, hey, keep yourself out of trouble, right? Just every step, just ask for consent. So we're going to play a game, consent or coercion. All right.
Ooh.
So here, all right.
Ooh.
So do you know the difference between consent and coercion?
Nope.
Identify it. And if you do, all right, you ready? We're going to play a game. All right, here you go. What is this? Now, I have heard this. I'm 61 years old. I've heard this too many times. Here's one. If you really loved me, you would have sex with me.
Coercion.
Consent or coercion. Yes, that was easy. That was an easy one. All right. That was an easy one. Yes, absolutely coercion. All right, here's another one. Hold on. Consent only applies to sex. Yes or no? True or false?
Never heard coercion.
Yes.
Coercion.
Right. Coercion. It only applies to sex. It does not. It can even apply to food. I talked about that, right? It even apply to food. It is a week later, and I found out that I have an STD. You didn't tell me. Consent? Coercion.
Coercion.
And I'm fighting.
We swinging.
Yeah, because you did not tell. That is a part of consent, is like you have to be honest with that person and let them know what's up to protect them and to protect yourself. It's just the right thing to do, right? Okay. Here's a good one. Oh, Lord, I think we have minors on here. No, we don't have minors. Trust me, I will pull out.
Run. They never do. They never do. It's coercion.
Run.
Absolutely.
Don't be a statistic.
Yes.
No,
Yes,
don't do it.
Do not. No.
And coercion. Do not believe somebody when they say if we put on a medical glove, it works just as well as a condom. It does not.
What?
Yes. That is also coercion. Absolutely.
First of all, if it fits in a medical glove, that's a problem.
Is that does size matter conversation?
No, that's
even
just
3 inches.
That's stupidity conversation. That is a conversation
micros.
we need.
That's micros.
We ain't micro shaming, but a glove, is this a latex glove? Is this a nitrile glove?
Think of the gloves that you can get. Think of the gloves you can get at the grocery store that you can use for food prep.
It's a woolly glove.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's that baggy trash glove. Oh no.
Oh my God, you're all over the place with that. Oh my goodness, what am I gonna do with you?
This is total coercion. Next question.
Yeah. So basically, here's another one. But when you're already got me worked up already, I don't want to stop. You got me hot and bothered.
Coercion. And they have no control.
Mm-hmm. Coercion, absolutely. Okay. I'll break up with you if you don't have with me.
Okay, we over.
Narcissistic behavior.
Coercion. Gaslighting, coercion.
Mm-hmm. It's no big deal.
Coercion.
There you go. Like I said, so that gives you an idea. And hey, I'm an old head. I'm 61. I've heard probably all of those and then some.
I feel like I've heard at least half of those.
Yeah, of people saying those things. And when you're having someone say those things, it is manipulating you. It is not being honest about what you're wanting, and just practice saying no. And so when you're talking about consent, it's your body, your rules. You hear me? Your body, your rules. Let consent be your guide. And for those that are the initiator, do yourself a favor and ask. Don't assume. That's where you make the assumption. Don't assume. Always ask. Stay out of trouble, because it's not worth the agony of it. All right. So we talked about STDs, and what is it called when you're playing with someone and they pull off that plastic glove?
Stealthing.
First of all, why do they still have the plastic glove on?
Right. Well, you're engaging and it's still on. All right. The real glove.
Oh,
right.
The real one. Okay.
Yeah, the real glove. Yes, Miss T, the real glove.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So if it's still on and then they're pulling it off, that is coercion. It is not consensual.
And it's also assault to an extent in some states.
I'm going to say it's also assault in some states. Absolutely. So know your rights and just practice saying no. And even for minors, like I talked about last week, teaching them, if someone wants their food, just starting to say no. No, thank you. No, that's okay. I don't want to share. It's okay. Don't force them, because they get in that habit of feeling they have to please people.
Oh, I got a question.
What, baby?
It is kind of centered around food. What if somebody gives you food that you don't want?
And they're making you eat it?
Yes.
As a kid?
Yes.
I've heard so many stories around that. Is that coercion? Some people say it is. But is it also you trying to get your, they'll say, well, I'm trying to get them to eat vegetables. So I'm putting
not even that. Like, say, like, for example,
go ahead.
If somebody tries to give you food that has something they know that you don't like on it, and it's like, no, thank you, I don't want this. But they're like, but I'm not cooking anything else. You have to eat this.
Yeah, that's coercion.
Okay.
That's manipulated.
Yeah.
And it's just plain out mean.
Yes.
Just plain out mean. You could just, you don't have to eat if you don't want it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they shouldn't force you to eat it because you just made it. But, back in the day, I mean, I grew up when what my mom made
is what you had to eat. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have a choice. And, that's not the kind of consent I'm talking about. But that does fall around being manipulated. And was she manipulating me? She was just, probably was. But, she mom, so I guess she was. Telling me, eat this or go hungry. Well, I ate it.
And then
I'm
mad
when 2 meals.
Eat it.
I'm hard-headed. I wouldn't eat it. I would fall asleep at the table. I was that kid. Like, you're gonna sit here, you're gonna eat this.
On the table.
Yeah, I would sit there and not eat anything, and I would just, you're gonna stay here, and I'd be like, cool with me.
I would eat it because I would think I'm trying to please her. So I'm a people pleaser. So I'm trying to please her.
This is how our parents screw us up later on in life, because we end up becoming people pleasers. And now we end up in trash relationships.
That's amen
True.
To all of that. I would say screw us up, but I think parents, back in my generation. Well, you know what? We're going to talk about that another show. Let's keep it on consent, because y'all got me all over the place talking about food and everything like that. My God, Jesus Christ. Okay, let's move on. All right. So, in simple terms, consent is about giving a choice of any kind of physical touch or actions, and most important is for those that are listening that you're going to respect their answer. Like, don't try. If they tell you no, then don't manipulate them to get them to say yes. Just accept that no, period. Let them know that if anyone touches them without their permission, that they should go to a trusted adult, a trusted teacher, any trusted person in their life they need to go to. And I always believe this. If a child comes to you and says, I've been touched, believe them until you know differently.
Fair.
Believe them.
Fair.
I have had so many people that come through my office that have said they have told their parents they were abused when they were younger, and their parents did not believe them. And I left them in the house. The abuse continued, and they had such issues around trust. And I am a very big believer in protecting kids. Trust them. Take their word that they've been hurt. Get them out of the situation and then dig down if you have to. You want to respect and teach your kids that they have a voice and that their voice matters. So when you don't respect their voice and they enter into relationships, that history of what they experienced as a young adult, a young person, is going to transcend with them and go with them into adulthood. So it's up to us as parents to start teaching them at a young age to respect their voice, to listen to their voice, and not try to manipulate and push them into something that they don't want to do. And that includes even, we talked about going to, Uncle Jack when they don't want to give Uncle Jack a hug or Aunt Polly a hug. Respect the fact. Don't make your kids do something they don't want to do. That is their body. They know when they want to give attention and when they don't want to give affection to someone. And you are not putting them in the best interest of their health as young adults when they're growing up if you're constantly making them hug someone that they don't want to do it. And I know in some cultures, and not even, some cultures, kiss Auntie goodbye, kiss them goodbye, give them a hug. We want them to be nice, want them to be respectful to elders. You can have them shake a hand. There's other ways. You don't have to have them physically touch and conjoin their bodies. Some kids aren't comfortable with that, so respect their boundaries on that. And, if some child is listening or a young person is listening, use your voice and be heard and let your parents know around this conversation. Also, saying no is not rude. When did that come out, that saying no is rude?
It's because it's not what they want to hear. That's why it's rude.
Yeah, I think so. It's not rude if you say no to somebody. But I think many of us have so much guilt, even when we're telling someone no, because it means that we're mean or, but we're not mean. We're just saying no.
We're mean, we're disrespectful, all that stuff. I have learned at least 99 ways to say no.
Absolutely. Also, what you want to do is show your friends that you care about them and respect your friends' boundaries as well. As you're growing up, if you're a young adult or if you're already an adult, respect boundaries. If your friend doesn't smoke, is not 420 friendly, don't keep asking them. They'll let you know when they are. You don't have to keep reminding, you want to hit. Alcohol. If they don't want it to, don't do it. Respect their boundaries. Respect the friendship.
Respect the price of what it is that you're trying to force on them.
Exactly.
It is not cheap.
It is okay. That too, let's see what else about. It's also okay if someone doesn't want to give you a good night kiss. Kids will give them a kiss good night, give them a kiss good night. You don't have to. You can say, hey, give me a high five. That is absolutely okay. You don't have to make them engage with their bodies physically at that young age. There's so many ways that they can still be, and you can raise them as nice children, nice young adults, but not having them to engage your bodies with somebody. So I asked someone to give them a high five. Okay. Asking, can I help you put your jacket on? Can I help you put your coat on? I will tell you, this is a very true story. I have had so many clients in my years of doing this kind of work where someone would help them put on their jacket or a sweater or whatever, and they would brush against a vulnerable body part, maybe their top. They would brush against that, cop a quick feel. So even something, if you don't asking for help, what else? Can I put my arm around you? Asking for consent, again, is really important. You're asking those questions. So I think you guys got what consent is, how you should ask for it. And I'm going to go over some responses that you can have with people too. This is something that we don't often do in Brown Sugar. We're really educating tonight. We normally just have these crazy conversations.
Oh, we still
but tonight we're really Yeah, we're still going to have it. But tonight we're really educating around teaching consent for young kids. Something that you could say when you see your young child or young adult respecting someone's boundaries, you could acknowledge it. I love that I see you respecting Sarah's boundaries of not, not forcing them to do this, not forcing them to go outside when they don't want to. Acknowledge them and that you see them, that they're respecting their friends' boundaries. You can also say, I can tell you really care about your friends by the way you listen to their needs. That's when you know you have a real friend. When they stop and they listen to you and respect what you're saying, that's a ride or die. That's a true friend. Not someone that's trying to manipulate you to do what they want you to do, but listens to you because they care about you, not trying to get you to do something they want to do. Okay? What can we do to make you feel better when you're feeling sad? Again, you're asking what to do, right? Those are ways you're asking for consent. I do that with one of my family members right now who's having a really hard time. They're so sad, so depressed. And for a long time, I was trying to be their entertainer. Let's do this. Let's go there. Let's do this. And I realized it was not helping the situation. It was only, they were actually getting sick of me. And I changed who I was in the relationship with my friend. And I asked them, what do you need? How can I help you? How can I be a better friend to you? What do you need so you're not sad right now? And they'll tell me that. And when I did that, that person says, no one's asked what I need. You're the first one that's asked. Everyone's trying to fix me. You're the first one. So that's important, asking someone what they need when they're going through a situation. So I hope this was really helpful. That are those who are watching on TikTok, for those that are on YouTube that are watching the show. When you're talking about consent, consent is not boring. It can be quite delicious. And how you emphasize all those words, right?
Very tactile.
Yeah. Consent will keep you out of the popo, keep you out of prison. It'll keep you from getting some charges,
But more importantly, it brings back your power.
Yeah. Talk about that, Therese. What is that? Like, what do you mean by the power?
So when you're in a dynamic, when you're exchanging with someone, whether it's just your time or you've made them something, or it is an intimate relationship, or it's just your day-to-day relationship with regular people, right? You may not consent to certain things. Like, example, you're going out with a group of friends, you're going to go have dinner, and they pick this very expensive place, and people start ordering all these delicious things, but you understand that you're on a budget, so you order within your budget. And then everybody is like, we're going to split the check evenly. You did not consent to that.
Mm-hmm.
That is still consent. Consent has to do around things that you allow. One of the examples, you're getting married, and I think we were going to talk about this, but sometimes at weddings they do these video shows where they show, like, the bride and the groom growing up through their family and all this, their family years. And somebody may be embarrassed by their pictures and they don't want those things shown, right? But the family takes it upon themselves to say, I don't care how you feel. I'm going to do it because we're going to get a laugh at your expense. I did not consent to that. And if you do that, I will cut communication. Please understand that you have the availability to cut communication, cut contact, cut any kind of activity that is going on. And that is your consent. I do not consent to you hugging me as a coworker. I do not consent to, no, I don't want to shake your hand. We're still in COVID. Don't touch me. Like, absolutely. Consent revolves around everything from the drinks you drink to the people you spend time with. I do not consent to eating baked beans because I'm allergic to mustard. You're going to kill me if you give them to me, but you want to force them on me because you made them out of some weird obligation. I'm not eating it. Consent.
Absolutely. Consent.
But it is very empowering to understand that your own body is yours and you do not have to please anyone else with your body except for you. It is empowering. And what I think a lot of people don't understand is when you show that power to someone and someone else sees it who may not understand it, then they start wondering, and then they want to take that journey too.
Exactly. It's
consent it is very empowering, and I hope people take away from this that consent is not weakness, consent is not boring, consent is sometimey, consent is always. We're in a world where people don't want to give you their number and they want to beat you up for that. Consent.
Right, exactly.
Consent.
Or people want to take you off the census for saying no.
Right.
Yeah.
Consent is very sexy. You know, if you think about those that like to play in the dungeon world, you know, I'm talking about those types of clubs. That world is all about consent, right? Consents, you know, red, yellow, green. That's what they're using.
Pineapples.
That tells you where if that's their barometer, that's what they're using for consent. Red, yellow, and green. And you know instantly when you're about to hit that yellow, literally hit. So, you know, that's why a lot of people like that world, because consent, they have a voice and they're listened to. But you don't have to play in that world if that's not your thing. Which I'm talking about, the dungeons. You can still give consent in your regular play with your partner by making it very sexy, by using some of the phrases I just went over. And there's something so luscious when, you know, the receiver says, yes, I like for you to do that. Or yeah, do that. It's something so delicious when you hear those words. And then using that hand gliding over your body as you're touching, and you're saying, oh, touch me here. Oops, I don't like that. Oh, back off a little bit or whatever. But that hand gliding technique is also about consent as well. So I have a story for you guys, and I want you to tell me what this is. This is a true story. Story time. All right.
Time.
So
hold on, let me get comfy.
Get comfy. I saw this a few years ago, and we were traveling. And there is this lovely lady and her husband that I met a long time ago. And they are now in their early 70s. Still very fit and vigor. However, I noticed that the lady is now suffering from dementia. Not Alzheimer's, but dementia. Okay. Per her husband. That she has dementia. So, you know, no big deal. I've known them for a few years now. Well, it is a big deal that she has dementia, but okay. She has dementia, and they are a part of the lifestyle community. So one of the things that she wanted to travel and explore the world before she couldn't anymore. So they're nudists. So their thing was, she wanted to be in nude places, hence the word lifestyle. They, over the last 2 or 3 years, I've noticed that the dementia has gotten worse. However, they are now not only nude, but they're also now venturing into playing with other partners as well. So one of the gentlemen that I know came up to me and said, I'm worried about something. And I was working at the time at a resort, and I'm like, what is it? They're like, they want me to play with their friend, but I think she's crazy or drunk. And I'm like, who are you talking about? They're like, well, you know, over there. And I looked and I'm like, I can't tell you what it is, but you need consent. Is it consent when you have dementia? And is it consent? That's a tough one, right?
Yeah.
Perhaps she's given consent in the first minute, but then she's playing. She doesn't know who you are. He doesn't know who you are. Is that consent? That's a slippery slope that some people are finding themselves in. I know people on TikTok are like, what? Yeah, that's a real thing.
That is a real
thing. That we are living longer. People are more physically fit. You know, you might be more fit than your partner, but dementia, Alzheimer's can hit. You're not in an old folks home or a place. You're still active physically, but now here you are with a partner who's a healthy partner. You still want to be physically engaging with each other. Where is the consent if there's dementia? Or can you have dementia and have consent?
Honestly, Doc Val, we're going to have to let the audience sit and think about that and answer that next week.
That's a tough one.
Y'all,
is it?
Y'all think deep and hard. You got another 7 days and we're going to come back. We're going to ask this question again, and we want to hear your answers. If you get an answer before then, put it in the comment section here on YouTube or on TikTok. You can even email Doc Val or us the answer that you come to terms with. And so don't forget, you can always look us up at BrownSugarConfessions@gmail.com. And you can hit Doc Val up at Valerie at Swan Center. That's Swan with 2 N's, center.com. It is time for us to wrap it up. We will see you all next week. And don't forget, in the words of our great fearless leader, Doc Val, stay safe and play safe. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Brown Sugar Confessions on Power 1017. Go to our Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram page at Brown Sugar Confessions to like, share, and follow. Stay safe and play safe. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.